These guys, the Islamic State, ISIL, these guys are terrorists, and these guys are the worst of the worst. That said, this is a challenge that has to be dealt with by the people in that region, the Iraqis, the Jordanians, the Saudis. I did support the president's limited airstrikes and so forth because we have to degrade ISIL, we have to combat them, and we have to set them back. But I'm against putting ground forces in the Middle East again. We've been down that road before. The Iraqi people have to be willing to fight for their country. We can't send our men and women into harm's way to fight for their country. They have to be willing to do it. The Syrians have to be willing to do it. And the Saudis and others have to be willing to do it. I also believe the 2002 AUMF has expired. We have to repeal that, and we have to give, if we're going to do this, it has to be a limited authorization. Now contrast that with Congressman Ossie. We were at a forum last week or 2 weeks ago, a candidate forum, and this same issue came up. Now you were in Congress and voted for the biggest foreign policy failure of our lifetime, the Iraq War. In that forum, you talked about wanting to put troops on the ground again. That's, in my mind, that is the wrong approach.
Mr. Ossie, you have an opportunity to respond.
Dan, this is a great question. Congressman Bera, you weren't listening last Saturday. So the authorization to use military force 2002, which was given to President Bush under the same circumstances and same set of facts, I would go ahead and vote for it again. Because protecting the homeland and preventing people from getting away with killing 3,000 Americans is very much a responsibility of the federal government. I wish that those like Congressman Bera, who wish to Monday morning quarterback, had stepped forward when we were confronted with 9/11 and told us all they knew so we wouldn't have made the mistakes we did. But we did make mistakes. We didn't have his counsel at the time, and that's a loss for the entire country. I do believe that the president has not paid attention to ISIS, that it has manifested itself into something that's quite serious, that is going to require a joint effort. I'm very concerned that the president's efforts on the international front are failing to create the coalition that will address the very real question that every military expert has said, which is we have to have boots on the ground. Dan, I got to tell you, I'm really tired of war. But in these jobs, like a member of Congress, you can be tired, but you still have to confront it. This, however, is not the number one national security issue we face. I'm hoping we get to the number one, which is the possibility of Iran obtaining nuclear weapons. That cannot be allowed to happen.
Congressman Bera, you have an opportunity to reply.
Look, I'll give Congressman Ossie the benefit of 2002, but in hindsight, knowing what we know today, was that vote to authorize the Iraq War a mistake?
You can reply, Mr. Ossie. It's your opportunity.
Well, again, I think the number one national security issue, rather than talking about something 10 years or 12 years ago, remains the possibility that Iran is going to get nuclear armed. We have had a parade from the president and his allies in Congress, like Congressman Bera, that says we can trust the Iranians, we've got a paper document. Reminds me of Neville Chamberlain in the 30s. The Iranians are not to be trusted. The reality of them having an operable nuclear weapon is a catastrophe, and he's done nothing to address that.